Greetings everyone, and welcome once again to TFT, Tarot for Today, Divine Dabblings, with me, Oberon. And this is Goth Tarot, the weekly look into our shadow issues. And this month has been devoted to dealing with the concepts behind limiting beliefs, which I will get more to that in a moment. First, I'm going to open with a reading from the Oracle of the Hecatean Path by Ken Payne and Chris Butler. And we like to think of this as setting the tone, perhaps, in a way, for the reading. So welcome, everybody. Goth Tarot is devoted to honoring that sacred darkness in our lives. But sometimes it's even too much for us. And so we need to find ways to understand how this darkness and how these shadow things are affecting us. Good luck. So let's set that tone with our oracle reading. Devotee, dedication. The goddess is calling directly to you, enticing you to make a conscious commitment. It is a time of renewed devotion. The goddess unifies through our similarities, not our differences. Together we spread her gifts and blessings. Grow your relationship. Take that next step. Open yourself up to the love and power of the goddess. On a mundane level, look to where you may have let yourself down by failing to stay dedicated. And whether or not you have a dedication to any particular spiritual energy or being, a deity, whether it's the goddess of many names, Hecate is the one we're working with here, it is important to realize that we honor ourselves because we honor our work. And so if we are able to find a sacredness in our devotion, in our dedication, that's more than half the battle, all right? So, like I mentioned before, this month we've been working with the concept of limiting beliefs from the Cries of the Soul Oracle. So we're not going to spend a lot of time with this in specific. I'm just going to briefly remind ourselves what this is about. Think of yourself as a car. Your creative thoughts and positive emotions are the accelerator, and your free will is the clutch, while we are the brakes that love to bring everything to a halt. And that's it. We are the thoughts that freeze your energy, keeping you stuck in a comfort zone. We are present in your mind through your education, social dictates, and lack of adaptation to change and novelty. Our faces are, I must, I have to, and it's complicated. We are often responsible for your self-sabotage and lack of self-esteem, and we give birth to pessimism and personal devaluation. So that was just to remind ourselves that when we limit beliefs, we're not letting our our full potential is being active. We're trying to stay in a very safe spot where we feel we can be protected, and we're not growing, and we're not challenging, and we're not facing the issues that have control over our lives. So, in devotion to anything, we can possibly see and work through these limiting beliefs. All right, I'm going to move this down here, not too far away, and we're going to move that one over there. And we will now do our update. And it's the update for this. And we're pulling two cards. One's from the Shadow Work Tarot by Ethereal. The other's by the Opaline Tides Tarot, also by Ethereal. And the difference being, the one we pull, it is the actual idea of what is our progress here. Are we moving through it? Are we learning it? Are we getting it? So I'm going to do that one right now. Like I mentioned, that's the Shadow Work Tarot by Ethereal. That's also where I got this beautiful backdrop of the Tree of Life that I use. So this card will show us the nature of the progress that we hopefully are doing, or the status of the process. And it's the Hermit. So, I don't know. The Hermit could be a good sign. It could be saying that we realize we have to go inward to really explore this, to take that deep dive. We have to possibly eschew others at this time, or at least any advice or intersectionality that they're trying to have with us. Because what we need to do to work with this codependency, is what it is to really focus ourselves inward. And I think the reason for that is kind of clear, that codependencies involve our dealings in intersectionality with other people. And so maybe this is saying, in this part of the process here, we should try to be strong and not have a lot connecting us to other people for this matter. I know it's a little complicated, maybe, but just saying that this is not something we can necessarily share with people. The work has to be shadow work and pretty much inner. Now, is there anything else that we need to keep in mind here? So for that, I will use that Opaline Tarot. The other deck by Ethereal. It's beautiful decks. My arthritic hands are having some problems shuffling them because they are a little stiff, and they are definitely that taller idea about the decks. So what else should we be keeping in mind about working through the limiting of beliefs? it's the reversed Eight of Swords. What we need to keep in mind is that we might be over imagining or over exaggerating what this is, and that it could actually be a lot easier to break through than we want to admit. That maybe it's saying that the process of going inward as the hermit is really what we need to do. It's not going to hurt us. It's really going to advance us. So it's sort of an extra kick in the fanny there for that one, I think. I'm going to just say it that way. All right. So those are our updates. I'm going to leave the opening card right there. We're going to move on to some other cards that explore adjacent shadow issues. In all of this, with the idea of limiting our beliefs, we might be letting another part of ourselves act this out in a way so that we don't have to explain ourselves to people, or so that we can have something sort of convenient to kind of pull us out of that conversation. And so that is a concept of us creating an avatar that we sort of overlay these shadow things on, and it's a projected idea of us. It's us, but it's not exactly us. It's a higher aspect of us ourselves, and so we can kind of use it as a foil or a way of admitting something without taking the blame for it. And once again, it sounds easier than maybe what it really is. So what is our dark avatar? What do we project as an ideal or a persona that we think can be a disguise or be a cosplay for us? I'm using the Lost Souls Tarot. It is an AI deck. I bought it specifically, though, because of the quality or the intensity of some of the cards that I use for the avatar. And I only use the court cards and the major arcana. So what is our avatar? It's the reversed emperor. The reversed emperor is our Costello. It's our new Costello. It's kind of like our bumbling comedian self. It's our trickster self in a way, but it's unintentional. We're using the idea behind the reversed emperor to say, I don't really have agency here. I have no agency here, and this is sort of just incidental or coincidental to what life is right now, to how life is happening. That's kind of weird. But I can see how that works. We sort of act like there's an autopilot sense of ourselves, and we're not totally responsible because we don't really have that ability to be responsible. It's just sort of what's happening to us. All right, that's a little curious. So when we have this persona of a dark avatar, we don't have to take responsibility for what it's doing. We can kind of observe it, but we can say, well, this is a process that it's going on, and sort of act a little bit removed from that. And I call that the dark avatar's mission. And the dark avatar's mission sort of says, or it is saying that, don't look at that, what it seems to be happening. This is being told to you what is happening. I'm going to use my new Dark and Light Lubenko Tarot for this, the full deck. This card represents the thought form or the idea we create to explain our dark avatar and to explain what's going on without necessarily being able to say, and it's because we limit our beliefs. It's just sort of an incidental in a way. It's a way of not taking the blame, or a way of saying we want people to see this, not what really is our shadow. And the Dark Avatar's mission, bam, it's the same thing. It's the Emperor reversed, only from this deck. This is one of the reasons I say this all the time, why I like using multi-decks, because I feel that if a certain card shows up in more than one deck, there's an emphasis there. And so the Dark Avatar and their mission are the same, literally, and that's to basically say, we're not in charge here. We don't have agency. If these things are happening, it's not our fault. We are not responsible. So that's a double whammy in a way, because you're not committing to fixing it at all. You're not committing to changing that, which is an aspect of yourself, or what it's trying to do. It's very interesting because our work is telling us we need to come out of the shadows. We need to stop feeling like we're a prisoner. We need to free ourselves and take responsibility. But we're still having a problem with that. And I have a feeling that limiting beliefs is a really hardcore kind of thing that's hard to break here, that it's such a great way to be able to deflect almost everything, including this reading. We're going to move on to the next card. The next card, the position is called the Dark Trick. The Dark Trick. And I use the Joker Tarot because the Dark Trick is actually showing how when we're just not sure, we're keeping people at that arm's distance so that we don't have to be responsible, how we may actually do other things or things in our nature to basically continue this manipulation. A further trick, or the basic trick. The basic trick wham. It's the Knight of Pentacles. The Knight of Pentacles, as the Dark Trick, we're giving lots of really misleading signals here, and we're sort of being very provocative by leading people one way and then leading people another way. And so the Dark Trick is to sort of say, oh no, we're working towards that. We're trying to get control here. We're trying to move towards the situation and resolve it, stabilize it, it's Pentacles, but patience is needed. We need to really, 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 really slow things down so that we don't miss any of the details that may be important. And what is that? The dark trick is just saying we have a reason why we have to limit those beliefs. We're going to make things go slower so that it's going to be harder for you to figure out what you're doing or harder for you to apply the solutions to that. Wow. So at this point, these next cards are not really representing how we interact with the world around us in this dysfunctional shadow we have, but it's really going to be more about the dark mirror that we hold up and project. And a part of that dark mirror is the mask that we are holding up to ourselves and saying, yes, I like this. I am this. I feel that this is really what I am. Sort of like in ourselves, we can say, I think this is what I am. This is really the root of the matter. That's going to be represented by the Phantom Tarot. But I'm pulling an additional card from my other deck, the Phantom Queen Tarot. And that is also a mirror, but it's the mirror that other people see, whether we wish it or not. It's what other people think of all this about us going through our shadow. So first, what is the mirror we look at and we tell ourselves this is what we are? This is how we rationalize ourselves or how we really feel we are. We look at ourselves and we say, we're a tower. We're a mess that's falling down. We didn't do something right and we know we're going to pay for it. But we also know that maybe what we're able to learn from it will make it worth it, if that's possible. So now, like I mentioned, what do people see in all of this? What do the people who are close enough to see? What is the mirror image they see of us dealing with this shadow, being contradictory in how we explain things about it, or actually deceptive? Because I think what this week's been showing us is that we really don't want people getting too close to us with this idea here. We are hoping to avoid any sense that somebody might be trying to do an intervention of some sort. Despite it all, what is the thing that people will really see? Whether it is true or not, what is the image they're seeing with us? It's the Emperor reversed again, the third time. Folks, you can't make this stuff up. The Emperor reversed again. People see what we think is just our projection. But in other words, it's the real thing. Our projection and our mission is really what people are seeing with us. They see us projecting that. They don't see maybe what's underneath it, the idea of the shadow that haunts us. They just sort of feel we're an enigma unto ourselves even. I'm going to have a lot to think about here. I really am. I might have to add some notes to this reading if I can't quite swear it. I'm thinking it's okay. It's definitely got a lot going on here. Well, it's time to close. And we're closing with the Dark Light Oracle reading and affirmation. And I have that here somewhere. You can find it. Sorry about that. Okay. Wow, what a reading. I think I need a little bit more room. But let's see what I can do here. Just going to rearrange the cards a little bit. That was our opener. I'll leave that one there. And I'm going to put our last one here from the Dark Light Oracle, sending us off for another week. With hopefully a nice affirmation and reading. Memories. I remember. I'll always remember. The past isn't forgotten. It is still there in my mind. All my memories, whether they make me happy or sad, are stored in my head. I wander down memory lane too often. The dead flowers of what once still blossom for me. But I am here to tell you that this can be a dangerous road and a risky habit. Sometimes I feel that I'm stuck in my own sorrowful merry-go-round. You may be in the same position. Do not sink into yourself. Sort out your memories. Keep the good ones as sweet nourishment for your soul, and revisit them from time to time. Learn from the playful ones without playing them on repeated loops in your mind. Leave the past out of yourself and go create your future. Affirmation. I cherish happy memories and learn or grow from sad ones, but I do not let myself sink into bottomless nostalgia. I think this affirmation is beyond the idea of the limiting beliefs, but I think it connects to it in the sense that that whole shadow is built from the idea that your past still has a hold on you with this regard. And looking through the cards, it almost feels like you're not accepting a certain lack in your life at this time, and that you need to open up your life to something else, be devoted to that. There's so many emperors here saying lack of agency, lack of being able to work with others or to have control and responsibility in your life, that I think it's important to realize this is a key issue of limiting beliefs. Even though it didn't come out prior to now, we're letting other people have more agency over our lives, or just not having that agency, period, and letting other people's dictates or energies move it ahead for us. So I'm hoping everybody will take that in. We still have at least one more week to go. I think next week's our last week. So I want you all to know I care about you, and hopefully we'll keep working on this until the next time. Don't forget to watch TFT After Dark on Thursday night from 7 to 9 p.m. Oberon's Emotional Exchanges Friday mornings at 7 a.m. Happy Hour Saturday morning at 10 a.m. Banshee's Material Matters at 10 a.m. on Sunday morning, and our other live stream Sunday afternoon, 2 to 4 p.m. We're also doing the monthly modality message, and it's either scheduled for later today, Wednesday, or maybe tomorrow. All right, everybody, take care. We'll see you soon.